Ask Reddit. Redditors, what's the most metal thing you've ever seen? Please subscribe, leave a like, comment and share the video to help the channel. Steve Irwin wrestles a croc back into the river, stands up and looks at his hand. Crikey, I dislocated my finger. Grabs his finger and pops it back into place, then double takes. Wait, never mind. It's broken. There was an article about a rapist who threw gasoline on his victim and proceeded to light her up in an effort to shut her up for good. She dragged him into the flames to burn with her. First time I saw Steve Irwin on TV, I didn't know who he was. He was in a small rowboat with a camera guy at night. It was pitch black other than a couple of small lights on the boat. Up next to the boat comes this huge crocodile like whoa, shit. So, Steve isn't scared at all. He's like, look at that beautiful creature, which was pretty impressive to see. But then, without a word, Steve jumps out of the fucking boat, into the fucking water, with the fucking crocodile. He's gone. The croc is gone. The cameraman is now filming nothing but calm black water. I'm like, holy shit, I just watched some dude kill himself. I was like, OMG 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 OMG. Guy still filming, nothing but black water. Steve is dead. What just happened? Seems like forever. But then, bloop. Here comes Steve out of the fucking black water with a giant fucking crocodile over his head, and he throws it into the fucking boat. Like, holy fucking shit. What the hell is this shit? I was an instant fan. That guy was amazing. Not perfect, but such a big heart and much more of man and a human than I'd even hope to be. Miss Steve. My boss drilled into his hand when a bit slipped. Got his knife out. Picked the filings of steel that got into his hand. Got the alcohol and poured it over. Slapped crazy glue to close the gap and drove to the hospital. The crazy part is that his face never changed. No emotion at all. Edit. Shout out to my other co-worker that had 2 of his fingers get caught on a rolling machine and torn apart. He just turned around and said, help me guys, in the most nonchalant way. Didn't see this firsthand, but my dad's friend told us about one time when his dog chased a bear up a tree. In a dog versus bear fight, the bear would win every time, but they tend to be pretty timid, so this dog treed it. The guy calls his dog back into the house, but before leaving, the dog pees on the tree with the bear in it. Super ballsy on the dog's part. I didn't witness it directly, but it absolutely qualifies. A few months back my friend noticed his 18-year-old cat seemed sick, just really lethargic, and seemed to have a small wound/bump on his tail. He kept an eye on him for a day or two, seeing if he was going to have to take him into the vet. 2 days later, the cat barfs up a dead black widow spider, and legitimately went back to normal after, and cleaned his tail wound himself and it healed. This fucking cat was bit by a black widow, and then ate it, and came out completely fine. So metal. Edit. Added an unnecessary apostrophe. At the time I was a court tech at a major trauma hospital. Patient comes with gunshot wound to forehead, self-inflicted, with a .22 caliber. They were alert and orientated in following directions, but kept trying to put their finger in the hole. They were surprised there was a hole in their forehead. I used to have a basset hound and a tiny cow-looking chihuahua. Basset hounds have a nose and a desire to hunt. One time a hawk came down, trying to carry away the chihuahua. As it swooped, it didn't get a chance to grab the tiny cow because my basset caught its neck, brought it to the ground, and started methodically breaking all its bones by running its jaw up and down the hawk's body until it laid there dying, unable to move. My dog won't even eat other animals. It just hunts. I watched an epic fight between a spider wasp and a huntsman spider. It went on for about 10 minutes and was like a kind of mini Godzilla, King of the Monsters vibe. It ended with a spider wasp winning and dragging the spider back into a big hole in my garden wall. It was fucking intense. Australian wildlife is metal AF. I worked at a music venue downtown in my city. Every Saturday was a mix of punk rockers and metalheads who came down for 80s night. This disheveled dude stumbled in and walks up to the bar. Long greasy hair, a bloodied busted lip with 2 matching black eyes, reeking of whiskey and a bad attitude. Me, 6 hours into a PBR drinker's shift with a tip bucket full of change and the occasional dollar. He orders a PBR and hands me a $10 I give him a $5 and 2 singles. I go to turn to the cooler to grab his drink, and he yells something along the lines of, "Where's the rest of my fucking money?" I snap back, tell him he gave me a $10, and turned the till to show him the empty $20 spot. We didn't keep large dollars in the register because we dealt in pocket change for $3 tall boys and $5 40s. As I go to grab the register and turn it back towards myself, ignoring his demand for money, I feel the damn thing slip between my fingers as I watch this fucking fool lift it over his head. I hear people yelling as they realize what's about to happen, while I drop behind the bar in hopes he doesn't bash my brains. In a matter of seconds, I hear the most animalistic growl and heave as I watch the fucker toss the register over my head, flying right into the glass bar. This was the mother of all oddly satisfying sounds. A giant bar mirror with 6 glass shelves, 50 plus glass bottles of liquor, and assorted beer breaking into bits and raining down all around me. In the darkness, the neon lights shining through the glass mimicking sparklers shooting out of the wall where an entire bar stood a moment earlier. It all happened in minutes, feeling like an eternity. Then it all ended swiftly as the bouncers moved in, picking this guy up over their heads, throw him down 2 staircases, toss him out the door, and beat the dog shit out of him. It was just another Cincinnati Saturday night. Old lady I used to take care of, she was an aircraft mechanic in her youth during WW2. She fought me tooth and nail every time I went in to help her. One day in the dining room she fell out of her wheelchair and busted her head wide open. She was 95. Blood everywhere. This lady stands up, blood running down her face. We rushed to help her. She looked me dead in the face and said, "Fuck off. I don't need any help." We called an ambulance. One of my friends has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, far worse than myself. I remember once her foot fell out from under her on a staircase. She slipped down and ended up a curled and contorted mess, having dislocated both shoulders and twisted her legs underneath her. Before I could even get down the stairs and help, she started popping her joints back in and untangling herself. It was like watching a marionette build itself from a pile of parts. Either truly metal or nightmare fodder. Turning off the highway onto a road that leads into a small country town, there was a deer carcass rotting underneath the sun that was likely the result of a vehicle hit. Feasting on the corpse was a bald eagle with its beak stained red from his free meal. I slowed down to observe, and he spread his wings out as if to show his dominance. Once in a lifetime sight. Astronomer here. I did visit the Hoba meteorite in Namibia when I was backpacking around southern Africa after college. It is the largest single meteorite known on Earth, and the largest single piece of naturally occurring iron we know of on the Earth's surface. At 60 tons, it's basically too big to ever move. Since a farmer discovered it, he hit it with a plow. Edit. Yes, there are cranes that can lift more than this. However, you would have to get it to Namibia and then to this remote site in the desert over shitty roads, so I'm sure it was just a tad unfeasible. They definitely chipped off pieces of the meteorite though, I know, because we had one in our university's meteorite collection. My grandpa survived 3 brain tumors. They removed large parts of his brain, though, and he had multiple grand mal, IDK how to spell, seizures. He averaged almost 1 seizure a day. Regular treatment wasn't really working, so his amazing surgeon guy put electrodes in his brain that stopped the seizures for a good 7 months. My grandpa was a cyborg for a short amount of time. And he was given up as a kid. Tortured because his parents abandoned him to a state school where they electrocuted him because they misdiagnosed him with autism. He was called in for the draft for Vietnam pretty much as soon as he was able. They rejected him for his mental health background, to which he stubbornly said fuck you, I'm enlisting, and he said Vietnam was easier than his childhood in a lot of ways. He spent his life advocating for autistic rights. If you don't believe me, they wrote a book about him. You'll like it here by Edor Zachowski, again spelling IDK if that's right. My grandpa was a Vietnam veteran cyborg who fought for autistic rights. I loved that man so much. Edit to add that the book is largely about his childhood and advocacy, not so much about being a kick-ass cyborg man. It is a really good read, though, and everyone I know who has read it has really loved it. Bit of a tearjerker. Second edit. Thanks for my first silver. /u/I_can_has_brains. Please subscribe, leave a like, comment and share the video to help the channel.